expanded without limit. There is no end, there is no beginning, and there is no middle to all this.
Text 17. Kiritinam garinam chakrinam cha tejorashim sarvato diptimantam pashyami tvam duniriksham samantad diptanalarka tutim aprameyam. Translation. Your form adorned
Is difficult to see because of its glaring effulgence, which is fiery and immeasurable like the sun.
Text 18. Kamaksharam paramam veditavyam tamasya vishvasya param nidhanam tamavyaya shashvata dharma gopta sanatanastam purusho mutome. Translation. You are the supreme primal
objective. You are the best in all the universes. You are the maintainer, the eternal personality of Godhead.
Text 19. Anani madhyantam ananta viryam ananta bahum shashi surya netram pashyami tvam dipta utashivaktam vatejasa vishvam idam tapantam. Translation. You are the origin.
Numberless arms and the sun and moon are among your great unlimited eyes. By your own radiance, you are heating this entire universe.
Text 20. Dyav apitivyor idam antaram hi yaptam tvayaika shascha sarva tristvad bhutam rupam ugram tavedam lokatrayam pravyatitam hantam. Translation. Although you are one,
you are spread throughout the sky and the planets and all space between. O Great One, as I behold this terrible form, I see that all the planetary systems are perplexed.
Text 21. Amihi tvam sur kechit pita pratlanjalayo gananti swas ityuktva maharshi siddhasanga stuvanti tvam stutibi pushkalabihi. Translation. All the demigods,
they are very much afraid, and with folded hands, they are singing the Vedic hymns.
Text 22. Rudraditya vasavo yecha sadya vishveshvino marutas choshmabhascha gandharva yakshasura siddhasanga Ikshantitam Vismitas Chaiva Sarve. Translation. The different manifestations of Lord Shiva,
the Adityas, the Vasus, the Sadhyas, the Vishvadevas, the two Ashvins, the Maruts, the forefathers, and the Gandharvas, the Yakshas, Asuras, and all perfected demigods are beholding you in wonder.
Text 23. Rupam Mahate Bahuvakcha Netram Mahabaho Bahubahuruparam Bahudaram Bahudangshakaralam Vishvaloka Pragatitas Tataham. Translation. O mighty armed one,
all the planets with their demigods are disturbed at seeing your many faces, eyes, arms, bellies, and legs, and your terrible teeth. And as they are disturbed, so am I.
And finally, text 24. Navas Visham Diptim Aneka Varnam Yatananam Dipta Vishalanetram Vishtva Hitvam Pravyatitantaratma Titim Navindami Shamam Shavishno. Translation. O
all-pervading
all-pervading Vishnu,
Vishnu, I can no longer maintain my equilibrium. Seeing your radiant colors fill the skies and beholding your eyes and mouths, I am afraid.
we'll go back to text 14 now. Let me start at 14. Okay. Someone can read the translation and the purpose.
Then, bewildered and astonished, his hair standing on end, Arjuna began to pray with folded hands, offering obeisances to the Supreme Lord. Purport. Once the divine vision is revealed, the relationship between Krishna and Arjuna changes immediately. Before, Krishna and Arjuna had a relationship based on friendship, but here, after the revelation, Arjuna is offering obeisances with great respect, and with folded hands, he is praying to Krishna. He is praising the universal form. Thus, Arjuna's relationship becomes one of wonder rather than friendship. Great devotees see Krishna as the reservoir of all relationships. In the scriptures, there are 12 basic kinds of relationships mentioned, and all of them are present in Krishna. It is said that he is the ocean of all the relationships exchanged between two living entities, between the gods, or between the Supreme Lord and his devotees. It is said that Arjuna was inspired by the relationship of wonder, and in that wonder, although he was by nature very sober, calm, and quiet, he became ecstatic. His hair stood up, and he began to offer his obeisances unto the Supreme Lord with folded hands. He was not, of course, afraid. He was affected by the wonders of the Supreme Lord. The immediate context is wonder. His natural loving relationship was overwhelmed by wonder, and thus he reacted in this way.
So God, or Krishna, has many different aspects to his personality, as we would expect. Great personality has so many different relationships. That's what makes him so great, is that he has relationships with all types of persons, living beings, circumstances, and he masters them all. He prevails wonderfully in all relationships. Just like for example, Krishna, he has the most beautiful relationship with his family, parents you've ever seen. He loves them so much, and they love him so much they can't even let him go out to play in the fields or to take care of the calves. They love him so much they can't stand to not be with him at every moment. And Mother Yashoda loves Krishna so much, her breasts are pouring milk out all the time. That's a lot of love, even when he's grown. So no one can imagine more loving relationship between parents and a child than Krishna and his relationships with his parents or his brothers, his sisters. He has brothers and sisters. And his grandparents, all his elders, he respects his elders like anything. We may not like to associate with our elders. We may think they're old-fashioned or something. But Krishna loves to associate with his elders. But Krishna's not limited. He's not stale, just stay-at-home friends. No, he's got contacts all over the universes. He's associating with, as we read here, the Suras, the demigods, and the devotees, and the Uragas, great serpents in the universe, and the great Gandharvas, great singers, performers. He's got relationships everywhere. And he travels in space, and he's more powerful than anyone or anything, all at the same time. And he's a gentle friend of Arjuna. They're close friends. But Arjuna becomes somewhat bewildered because Krishna is now showing another feature of his personality. that from his form comes all the sunlight, all the brightness comes from him. He doesn't show that all the time. Otherwise it'd be difficult for people. They couldn't get close to him because he's so bright. If he's the source of millions of suns, you can just imagine how bright it is to be close. So he covers that. He keeps it unmanifest, except for certain occasions when it's time to really let go. So he shows now some of these other aspects. Arjuna's overwhelmed. He can't even believe his eyes. He can't imagine what he's seeing. Seeing everything we read last night. That although Krishna and Arjuna are seated in one place, they're seeing everything throughout the universe at the same time. That's not possible for ordinary persons to do that. But this is one of Krishna's special. He's showing that. He's giving his friends special front row seats in this wonderful display. We like to see a volcano, or we like to see stars shooting through space, or we like to see big tidal waves. I like to see them. We don't like to be too close to them. But these are just tiny manifestations of Krishna's unlimited opulence. And it's even more important that the living entities can have a relationship with him in a very personal way, like friend to friend, or even boyfriend to girlfriend. Krishna has that type of relationship too. Or children, or servant to master. So whatever type of relationship one wants to have with God, he can have it. Because Krishna is the personality of Godhead, not impersonal. He has impersonal aspects as well. But the impersonal aspects are appreciated by impersonalists. They are not accustomed, they're not looking for personal relationship. That's unfortunate. If someone thinks, I'm one with the universe, I'm all energy, I'm not interested in persons, he's unfortunate. Because he's missing out on the greatest personality, Lord Krishna and all of Krishna's associates. They're all wonderful personalities. Why wouldn't you want to associate with such persons? Who could you find better to associate with? Well, people become sometimes just disappointed with relationships in the material world. We try to have friendship, we try to have an ongoing relationship, but then it doesn't work out somehow or other. We're separated by time, space, one moves away, one gets injured, or they change their feelings. I'm not interested in this person anymore. So then we're disappointed with our relationships. That's why so many people now, they're thinking, let me go into some religion or something, some path that doesn't have persons. Just be energy, light, white light or something like that. Or nothingness. That's another Buddhist idea. I'll become shunyavada, I'll become nothing. But this is not for the real seekers, those who really want the ultimate in doing the right thing. They want to do the ultimate thing, but not at the cost of causing others distress. They want to help everyone. It's like God or Krishna. He's always trying to help everyone. And the devotees of Krishna, that's how they think too. So they're doing the best work for all the living entities. You can't do better work than Krishna does. After all, he maintains all living entities. He's maintaining them all. Who's doing more work than that? You can put your full energy into assisting him, and you'll never be short of service, because there's so many living entities. You can serve them. And the best way to serve them is to bring them to Krishna consciousness. Bring them up to the point of realizing Krishna. Then they'll be happy eternally. And then they found their home. It's like a baby's crying in a big crowd of people. So the baby's crying, so they hand it to another person, still crying. And they hand the baby all around. The baby keeps crying till he reaches his mother's lap, then he's happy. Then he's, okay, now I'm home. Feel comfortable here. So we won't be happy till we find Krishna, because he's the ultimate friend, the ultimate lover, the ultimate son, the ultimate master. On to the next text.
Arjuna said, "My dear Lord Krishna, I see assembled together in your body all the demigods and various other living entities. I see Brahma sitting on the lotus flower, as well as Lord Shiva and many sages and divine serpents." Purport. Arjuna sees everything in the universe. Therefore, he sees Brahma, who is the first creature in the universe, and the celestial serpent upon which the Garbhodakashayi Vishnu lies in the lower regions of the universe. This snake bed is called Vasuki. There are also other snakes known as Vasuki. Arjuna can see from the Garbhodakashayi Vishnu up to the topmost part of the universe on the lotus flower planet where Brahma, the first creature of the universe, resides. That means that from the beginning to the end, everything could be seen by Arjuna, sitting in one place on his chariot. This was possible by the grace of the Supreme Lord Krishna.
Because Krishna is controlling time and he's controlling space, they're all working under his direction. These are just different energies of his. So he can bring past into the present, or he can bring the present into the future. He can arrange time. He can arrange space. We're sitting in one place, but we can experience everywhere at the same time. These are mystical powers. God has all mystic powers. We see some of his mystic powers, and we can't imagine how they're done. How does he make the sun work like it works? Very hot, burning ball in the sky, traveling. How does he do that? Mystic power. How does he keep it burning? What fuel does he use? We haven't discovered that fuel yet. We can't make we can make little suns, it'd be nice. We could have one for our neighborhood or something. But we can't do it. But Krishna does all these things effortlessly. And so they think that this is done, it's so amazing, there must not be anyone who did it, who's behind it, no intelligence. And that doesn't make any sense. If it's so advanced that we can't even understand it, our best brains can't understand it, then how could we conclude that no brain has created it? It's a no-brainer, wouldn't you say? Okay, next text.
O Lord of the universe, I see in your universal body many, many forms, bellies, mouths, eyes, expanded without limit. There is no end, there is no beginning, and there is no middle to all this. Purport. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and is unlimited. Thus, through him, everything could be seen.
Thanks.
Your form, adorned with various crowns, clubs, and discs, is difficult to see because of its glaring effulgence, which is fiery and immeasurable like the sun. You are the supreme primal objective. You are the best in all the universes. You are inexhaustible, and you are the oldest. You are the maintainer of religion, the eternal personality of Godhead.
Yeah, this is Arjuna's getting kind of he's amazed, he's astounded by the powers and the opulence of Krishna, his friend. It's like you may have a friend and you two get along and everything's fine. And then maybe he gets out on some playing field and you see he's a brilliant performer, he's a great athlete. You didn't know that aspect about it. I didn't know you could do that. I can do different things. But then some other time you see him in another situation, say there's some big, there's a big brawl and people are, so he gets in, starts pushing everyone, stopping it and telling everyone, I never knew you could do that. Then he may bring on an airplane and he flies the airplane. I didn't know you could fly an airplane. So this little idea, but Krishna can do everything. So we'll never be satiated in realizing his opulence, his abilities. We'll always be more and more amazed at how Krishna can do all these things. Just like when Kaliya the serpent, not your ordinary serpent, this is at least 100 heads, very, very powerful, poisonous. And he wanted to kill Krishna. So he went out and grabbed him and he bound him up in his coils. Little Krishna was just pure, just a child. So this Kaliya serpent and he's trying to bite him with his poisonous teeth. And Krishna's relatives were there. His mother was trying to go into the water to save her son. And they wouldn't let her go in because waters were all poisoned. She was just dying. She couldn't imagine how could Krishna. And then Krishna started winning. He broke away from the tentacles of Kaliya and he began jumping on his heads. He had 100 heads. So Krishna was such an expert dancer. He was kicking on his heads at the same time he was dancing. And the gopis and the other devotees were playing musical instruments. So it was a wonderful performance. Would you like to see that performance? Yes. Yeah. Well, keep chanting Hare Krishna and you'll be able to see all this. Krishna reveals it. Okay, next text.
You are the origin without beginning, middle, or end. You have numberless arms, and the sun and moon are among your great unlimited eyes. By your own radiance, you are heating this entire universe. Purport. There is no limit to the extent of the 6 opulences of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Here and in many other places, there is repetition, but according to the scriptures, repetition of the glories of Krishna is not a literary weakness. It is said that at a time of bewilderment or wonder, or of great ecstasy, statements are repeated over and over. That is not a flaw.
No, it's not a flaw. If something's really extraordinary, and you say, that is the most amazing. He goes on describing. That means it really is amazing. It's really something. So you don't just say, nice. Nice, yes, but something more than that. The greatest I've ever seen. So he's trying, Arjuna is trying his best to glorify Krishna because he's in the mood of being a servant. He wants to serve Krishna. And if it's your friend, you want to glorify your friend. Your friend, that was great. That was a wonderful performance. So he just goes on praising him. A friend always likes to talk about his friends. Especially if he has some wonderful friend. Let's say I have a friend who's a producer of a big movie. So then when I go somewhere, I say, you know that movie? Yeah, my friend. Is really your friend? Yeah, my friend. I used to beat him up when we were kids. Yeah. Okay.
Although you are one, you are spread throughout the sky and the planets and all space between. O Great One, as I behold this terrible form, I see that all the planetary systems are perplexed. Purport. Dav apritivyaho, the space between heaven and earth, and lokatrayam, three worlds, are significant words in this verse because it appears that not only Arjuna saw this universal form of the Lord, but others in other planetary systems also saw it. The vision was not a dream. All who were spiritually awake with the divine vision saw it.
Yeah, that's important because someone might think this is just some hallucinations. People take drugs and they start hallucinating, and then they write a book, and it's my book. And but no, this is not just a hallucination of Arjuna or anyone. It was seen by great personalities. Like here, the demigods are seen. They're the very wonderful personalities. Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, the different demigods, the sun god. There's persons that run the sun. It doesn't just keep lighting by itself. It doesn't just stay. It doesn't follow. Have you ever noticed the course? The sun is so precise that you can set your watch by it. In fact, that's the idea. The sun is the hand that runs the time factor of the universe. Time maker. That's the name for the sun. So people don't know that, but that's true. And that, if it takes so many brains to make a Rolex watch that runs on precise timing, imagine how much ability it takes to make a whole universe that runs on perfect, precise time. You can't even, there's no deviation at all. The sun is not allowed to deviate. He's given his path. He's given his route, and he has to follow it. So Krishna has power too. He's gentle and friendly, but if need be, he can be very strong. You must do this. The whole universe is I'm depending on you. Do it like this. And then his devotees, they get a chance to serve him in such a responsible way. It's a great opportunity to serve him. Just like Yamaraj. You know Yamaraj, superintendent of death. He got a difficult task. He's got to deal with all the wrongdoers in the universe. They all have to come to him for their sentence, what they get for their misbehavior. So it's a difficult task. Who likes to do that? I mean, it might be nice for a day or two, but every day for thousands of dealing with all these wrongdoers. But he does it wonderfully. So Krishna is very pleased with him. He's a great devotee, great demigod, and he's very dear to the Lord. The Lord appreciates anyone who tries to assist him in his service. Next text.
All the demigods are surrendering and entering into you. They are very much afraid, and with folded hands they are singing the Vedic hymns. Purport. The demigods in all the planetary systems feared the terrific manifestation of the universal form and its glowing effulgence, and so prayed for protection.
They're singing Vedic hymns. So many nice Vedic hymns such as Brahma Samhita. We sing that. Ainum kandantam maravin dadalayataksham bharavatam samasitam sundarangam kandarpako tikamaniya vishesha shobham govindam adipurusham tamam bhajami. There's thousands and thousands of beautiful Vedic hymns glorifying the Lord.
The different manifestations of Lord Shiva, the Adityas, the Vasus, the Sadhyas, the Vishvadevas, the two Ashvins, the Maruts, the forefathers and the Gandharvas, the Yakshas, Asuras, and all perfected demigods are beholding you in wonder.
Okay, one more.
O mighty armed one, all the planets with their demigods are disturbed at seeing your many faces, eyes, arms, bellies, and legs, and your terrible teeth. And as they are disturbed, so am I. O all-pervading Vishnu, I can no longer maintain my equilibrium. Seeing your radiant colors fill the skies and beholding your eyes and mouths, I am afraid.
Anyone have any questions?
You were mentioning earlier how Krishna adjusts time in some of his pastimes and activities. And I was just wondering what other examples there are where we could hear about this, where he adjusts time.
Well, time is, he adjusted so much that it doesn't even exist in the spiritual world. That's a real adjustment. It doesn't exist. In other words, time, he says in Bhagavad Gita, Kalasmi, time I am, destroyer of the worlds. So that's what time does in the material. It destroys everything. In time, everything goes finished. The universe, it goes away. It becomes unmanifest. It's called avyakta. Vyakta means manifest, and avyakta becomes unmanifest. When the Lord inhales, the Lord in his Mahavishnu, the Lord has all different types of forms. And one of his forms is called Mahavishnu, the great Vishnu. And this Vishnu is so big that the time for his one inhalation is 311 trillion years by our calculation. Now it takes us, we inhale, it takes what, 1 second? Maybe 2. It takes 311 trillion years to inhale. You can imagine how big he is. So when he inhales, the whole material manifestation, everything goes back in him. He's got so much room there, so much abundance. And then he exhales again, and all the material universes come into being. And all the living entities that they don't have pure hearts, then they they come out and they get a chance again in other forms to try to control the material energy. So this is some idea of the greatness of how Krishna deals with time. When he inhales, everything's finished in the material. Then it comes out again. Carl Sagan, the scientist who was previous generation, not too long ago, he really appreciated this aspect of the Vedic literature. There's no other religious teaching that gives such a broad perspective of how things are going on and how they're not happening by accident. But it's all by plan, divine intelligence. Any other points of discussion?
Sometimes we're challenged that this is a mythology. What's the counter argument to that? That this isn't just a mythology.
Have you met Brahma? Have you met any of the demigods? How can you say it's a mythology? You haven't met it. You don't know anything about it. Just because you're not familiar with something, you can't say it's just a fantasy. You have to familiarize yourself. Find out who Brahma is. You have a lot of study to do. Then you can cast your judgment. Only after you've studied for a long time and really tried to find out how it's working, then you could say, I think it's mythology. Otherwise, if you say that and you're not familiar with the culture, with the books of knowledge, these books are eternal. It's not something that's just made up a few hundred years ago or 20 years ago. This is eternal knowledge. Vedas. You accept, is the sun mythology? So sun is not mythology. Is creation a mythology? All these stars, is that mythology? How are they being maintained? It takes a lot of energy to maintain things, especially to keep things up in the sky. Ask any airport controller. They'll tell you it's difficult to keep up the fuel and they have a tendency to fall down. But Krishna is known as a Chuta. He doesn't fall down. He can keep everything going on effortlessly. Is the ocean mythology? To a frog who never left his well, the ocean may be mythology. He says that because he's never seen the ocean. Have you ever seen frogs at the ocean? No, they don't go there. They stay in their little wells. He stayed in his 3-foot well, and when someone told him about the ocean, he thought it's mythology. Couldn't imagine. So we have to expand our awareness, expand our ability to receive. And if one becomes a sincere devotee of the Lord, he can travel everywhere. He can be an associate, he can travel with Krishna. When Krishna goes for his outings, his wonderful tours, the devotees can go with him. So then you'll see what kind of mythology Krishna's giving. No, it's the absolute truth. Nothing mythological. The Bhagavad Gita doesn't give exaggerations. The Vedas don't make things up to keep children entertained or something like that. This is from the highest learned scholars in the universe. Okay, thank you very much. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.